got to work that ball in. You got to look for different angles. And you got to watch out, too, not to make contact, because it's going to get called no matter what. Here's Sheldon Mayer now with the ball for the Eagles. We are in the fourth and final quarter of this championship game. Stick with us afterwards for the award ceremony. To follow the game, here's Norristown with possession, long pass back. Russell Graham back out to Ramsey. Ramsey back out to Wyatt. Wyatt open for three, got it. Khalif Wyatt drains the three. It's now 42-39 now.
What a big shot for Wyatt. Puts Norristown to within three, and they looked kind of flat, but now them and their fans really look into this game and have some energy.
Burton's shot there takes a friendly bounce in, and Burton still demonstrating his athleticism on the court. And here comes Russell Graham now for Norristown. Eagles have got to step it up on defense, but they got to get this offense going as well. Long pass to Sheldon Mayer. Immediately they put two defenders on the little guy. Back into Briggs. Briggs is blocked, and here comes Chester with the basketball. Chester has it. Travel. Oh my goodness. It's a travel call on Chester, finally.
They finally get Chester for something. And what I wanted to say earlier, Karan Burton, just a few moments ago, made a pretty play for Chester, getting to the rim using his quickness. I'll tell you, he makes Sheldon Mayer look slow. And Sheldon Mayer is extremely fast, but he makes him look slow.
All right, Russell Graham has it. 6:34 to go now in this fourth quarter. Wyatt again from downtown is short. And here comes Burton the other way. Norristown shot there for Burton is not good. Rebound attempt. Possession there staying with Chester.
They call a jump ball on that play as the Chester player went up and came back down, but not a walk because the Norristown Khalif Wyatt got a hand on the ball.
44-39, Norristown down by 5 points, 6:22 to go. Fourth quarter, District 1 PIAA championship game. Number 2 seed Norristown versus the number 1 seed Chester. Chester has the ball right now. Bounce pass there, shot is up and no good. Foul called on Khalif Wyatt. He puts his jersey over his head.
That's going to be 3 free throws for the big man, Russell Johnson.
Oh boy. When things could not get any tougher, they just continue to get tough for Norristown. First shot is good for Russell Johnson. He'll get 2 more.
Russell Johnson is averaging 17 points per game in the playoffs. In only 3 games, he had an ankle injury for the first game versus Methacton. They won without him, though, 68-56.
All right, second shot for Johnson is good. He'll get 1 more. And he makes all of them, 47-39. And right now, Norristown is really thinking now.
And now it's an 8-point game, and time becomes a factor. 6 minutes and change left to go, and 47-39 Chester. And if Norristown doesn't get some fast points here, the time's gonna start to tick down on them, and they're gonna look up. 4 minutes left, 3 minutes left. They'll still be down by a couple possessions. And you don't want to get into that kind of situation. So that's why these next 2 minutes are extremely important.
All right, 6:13 as it stands on the clock. As you said, time is the factor here. Norristown fans have been silenced except for boos from the missed calls, one-sided calls too from officials that seems. Shouldn't say one-sided, I should just say that Chester had some really good breaks and they've taken advantage of them, but Norristown has got to make adjustments. If one thing isn't working on defense, you go to another. If one thing isn't working on offense, you go to another. You keep going around until you find that niche that works. Every game is different. So Norristown has got to come up big here as they start off with possession now. And again, Burton comes right back. And again, in transition, it's a big big factor there for the Eagles. Have got to get back there. 49-39, Chester Clippers up by 10, and their fans are really into it now.
And Norristown needs a basket on this next possession because Chester's in the middle of a 7-0 run. And if it continues to gain momentum, it could become an even bigger run. And with time dwindling, Norristown needs to stop the bleeding right now.
Yes, they certainly do, and you know, I know the coaching staff is over there trying to get something drawn up. It's going to take a lot at this point in my mind. They have not been able to stop Karan Burton, excuse me. They have not been able to stop Nasir Robinson. It's just right at this point, they've got to do something different.
And they showed some spark early. Actually got out to a 7-2 lead, and then at halftime they were only down 4. But I don't know, as time's gone on, Chester has looked stronger and stronger, and Norristown's just looked shakier and shakier. They don't necessarily look fatigued, they just look mentally fatigued, making bad turnovers.
I mean, this team has forced them to really, do different things out of the realm that they've been used to playing. I mean, their speed right now, Chester's speed, has just thrown Norristown off. I mean, as you mentioned again in transition, they've just been beating them all around to this afternoon, and they just continue to. And again, turnover there on Chester, so Norristown does get the possession right back.
Yeah, Norristown's not used to having a team that can keep up with them, and Chester has kept up with them in their transition attack today. Chester's just as fast, if not faster, than Norristown.
All right, here's Ramsey for Norristown, back out. Wyatt fakes for the 3, goes back up, back out. Russell Graham has it, throws it back out to Mayer. Mayer, shot there is up, and it's good. So Sheldon Mayer finally puts a couple points on the board for Norristown, 49-41. Norristown only down by 8 with 5:13 to go. They've got to make a defensive stop here.
Yeah, and Sheldon Mayer is a very smart player. He does not take any bad shots in there. Got the jumper to stop the run. It was a nice clean look, and it's a big basket for his team, and he made sure he didn't do anything he can't.
All right, here's Burton. Has it inside. Ball is picked up by Russell Graham, and here comes James Ramsey. Sheldon Mayer now has it for Norristown. Back out to Russell Graham once again. Back out, Wyatt now for 3. That one's long. And Chester comes up with the ball. 4:29 now to go in the game. Time critical. 49-41, Chester up by 8. Chester's really going to slow it down now to bleed some time. Shot there by Robinson's no good. Basketball, Graham over goes. And let's see, jump ball. Norristown's possession. Norristown's possession on the jump ball. Russell Graham almost had the ball there, but just walked a little bit too far in front of it.
Yeah, Norristown had that rebound in their hands, but Graham and Watson were kind of both there. And that there was a little bit of a miscommunication, and they let it slip away into Nasir Robinson's hand. Fortunately, though, they were able to force the jump ball. Unfortunately, the possession arrow is going to go Chester's way now for the next jump ball.
4 minutes to go now in this game. Norristown down by 8. Every possession critical for the Eagles. Russell Graham, 2 defenders on him, has to get it back. And again, costly turnover and a layup there. There was so much contact by Chester's defensive players there on Russell Graham. He had nothing to do with it. Officials, again, no call. And really, you can't do anything with that.
Russell Graham handled the double team very poorly, though. You need to find the open man or call timeout if you really get into some serious trouble.
Norristown again down by 10, 51-41.
Mike Evans wanted a foul on that play, but just a jump ball instead. And the possession arrow, as we just mentioned, is going towards Chester, so Norristown will have to make a defensive stand, down 10.
I can see it almost on the Norristown's players' faces of, you know, what do we have to do here? What's going on? It's almost as it's flashing before their eyes much faster than they expected. But I'm telling you, they looked very off from the end of the first quarter, and it's carried over since, and we have a foul on Norristown, shooting 2. 33, that's Quentin Watson. Excuse me, and Khalil Jefferson will be shooting 2.
Bradley coming off of a 6-point game in Chester's most recent win, which was against Penwood. He misses the first free throw, though. He's also averaging 7.5 points per game in the 4 playoff games that Chester has played thus far.
Second shot is good. 52-41, 3 minutes, 8 seconds now to go in this game. Chester up by 11. Ramsey, his shot there is no good, and Chester comes up with it. And that's
Again,
one thing
no
Chester's
call.
done well, get to those rebounds and keep them in.
Well, the Chester fans can feel it now. They are 2 minutes and 47 seconds away from a District 1 title. Norristown in some serious trouble. They need some kind of a miraculous comeback. But even if they lose this game, they will go into states.
It's true.
And hopefully they'll make some adjustments so that if they play another team like Chester, or maybe they'll meet Chester again, it's a very good possibility. They can make some adjustments and figure out what they did wrong today. Because after all, they did compete for a large portion of this game. It's kind of unraveled here in the second half, though.
Well, this is, let's, not count anything out yet. But I'm telling you, okay, so it made the critics happy. Let's just say that. It's making the critics happy, to think like that. But, Norristown, this team, I think, has been given the bottom of the totem pole the entire season. They got a great group of guys out there, a great head coach and coaching staff. And, it's hard when you read these newspaper articles or you hear people talking on the street downing this team. It just kind of hurts you when you've seen what they're made of.
Terrible turnover there, and yeah, I agree with that. I mean, if you would ask someone at the beginning of the season who they thought would be in this game, they would say Chester. It's no surprise that Chester is here today. Norristown, on the other hand, kind of came out of nowhere, and they are a surprise here. They're big underdogs. And a lot of people didn't give them a chance. And I mean, right now it doesn't really look like they have one, but they fought hard for a good portion of the game. But now, as you said, the critics are being proven right.
Burton's fouled there. Fouls on Sheldon Mayer. 2 minutes and 23 seconds to go now in the game. 52-41 is the score. Norristown fans, a few of them are making their way out of the arena at this point. Burton at the foul line, shooting a 1-and-1. Shot's no good, and here comes Sheldon Mayer. Russell Graham has the basketball for the Eagles, 2 minutes, 16 seconds to go. And he's fouled.
It's a timeout for Norristown. A lot of the fans are giving up, some of them hitting the road. So Mike Evans will talk to his Eagles. 2 minutes and 13 seconds left. Still a chance to do something here. But meanwhile, in the Chester Clippers huddle over there, head coach Fred Pickett is trying to make up some kind of a plan so that his Chester Clippers can hold on over these final 2 minutes. It's not automatic, but they're in very good shape.
Well, again, the score as it stands is Chester 52, Norristown 41. This game began with a lot of momentum for Norristown. It slowly transitioned mid-first quarter, and then it was Chester after that. And again, when the breaks came Chester's way, they took advantage. Norristown just did not take advantage of the golden opportunity, should we say, in the beginning that Chester gave Norristown. And really, at that point, I had a feeling that and this may be hindsight at this point, but that Norristown was going to have some trouble because they weren't converting. And right now, they just have to play the rest of this game. Briggs there cannot get it to go, and Chester comes up with it. Here's Burton, muscles the other way. Here's Wyatt, comes up with it for Norristown.
Great
Russell
play by
Graham
Mayer
comes
to
back.
get the steal.
Russell Graham hands it off to Wyatt. Wyatt inside to Briggs, who comes up with two, 52-43 with 1:49 to go in the game.
What a look by Wyatt on that play, finding the open Briggs. That's just a tremendous pass.
Foul called on Sheldon Mayer. It's the 9th team foul this half for Norristown compared to Chester's 5.
Now, if you're Chester here, one of the key things down this stretch, if they want to hold on to their 9-point lead, will be free throw shooting. If they can make their free throws, they're going to go home as District 1 champions. If they don't, Norristown might be able to hang around and try and pull off a miracle.
I'm still trying to figure out how Chester has 5 team fouls, as I haven't seen him get called on too much this half. 54-43 now. 1 minute and 40 seconds to go, and foul there on Khalif Wyatt. So Khalif Wyatt was fouled. Fouls on Russell Johnson of Chester. That's their 6th team foul of the half. That's a non-shooting foul. Wyatt to inbound for Norristown.
That's a good foul by Chester to slow down the Norristown transition offense.
Shot there is up. That one rolls out for Ramsey. And here comes Sheldon Mayer. Full pressure there on Burton as Burton just muscles, huffs and puffs all the way down. Shot there is no good. Rebound and the putback is good for Chester.
And Karan Burton made it happen again. What he does is he uses his speed to get inside, but does not always go up. He'll pass to an open teammate, and he creates a ton of baskets by penetrating and then dishing to a wide open man.
Russell Graham there couldn't convert. We're approaching the 1 minute mark to go in this game. 59-43 as it stands. Russell Graham gets 2, 59-45. Chester, long pass. Here's Burton. And Russell Johnson shows off again, 61-45. Chester. And boy, you could tell the air has just been sucked out of the lungs of the Norristown's fans who've been dormant most of the game here. And here comes Russell Graham, 40 seconds to go. Graham has it. Shot there by Ramsey's no good, and Chester comes back with it, 28 seconds to go in the game. Chester's fans rise. Sheldon Mayer fouls.
Sheldon Mayer wrapping up Karan Burton because Norristown has to foul unless they feel they have no chance of winning this game, but they'll continue to fight here. The life's been sucked out of the Norristown Eagles, and the crowd is being sucked out of the pavilion here at Villanova. This place was filled to its capacity of 6,500 moments ago, but now some fans, a couple of them left over from the girls' game, they start to leave the building here, try and beat some of the rush, but they saw a good game, but it's ultimately going to be the Chester Clippers who will claim the District 1 title.
Now Chester is, I'm going to compare it a little bit to the 1980 Olympic hockey team of the Soviet Union, and where they just were dominant since 1969 up until 1980, and they just kept winning in the Olympics. Well, this is Chester, keep winning in District 1, and they've been unstoppable. Unfortunately, Norristown couldn't be the team that derailed them. Just a lot of talent on Chester, and they've proved it tonight.
And with this win, the Chester Clippers will pull ahead of Lower Merion of the 1940s for the most consecutive wins, as Nasir Robertson gets an athletic dunk to finish it. As Russell Graham will airball a three-quarter court shot, but the Chester Clippers are District 1 champions for the 7th straight year.
And you know something? When this Norristown team leaves this building today, they should have their heads held high. No reason to be disappointed with a great season for them. And let me tell you something. They had one heck of a run this season. 28-1 is not a bad number at all. Most teams would wish that they could get to that point. That this team now faces a new challenge beyond today. Now going into the state tournament, they're going to have to regroup. And guess what? They got a taste of some of the things they may face in this tournament, and this will give them an idea of what adjustments they're going to have to make.
Yeah, this was not a do or die situation. So Norristown will go to states, and they'll be one of the better teams in that bracket. Of course, it's going to be scary if they have to match up against Chester again, but hopefully they can, if that's the case, they could do in that game what they did in the first quarter of this game.
All right, let's look at some of the dominant factors for Norristown. We look at Russell Graham, who came out firing this first quarter of this game and created a lot of turnovers, and he looked really good. And again, we looked at Khalif Wyatt, who also was draining three-point shots and looked comfortable at some points, but still a lot of the other members of the team struggled, and then eventually everybody struggled to try to do something or make something happen on this court. And it just seems like they were overthinking a lot of it, and a lot of the pressure, too, could get to them.
Well, one of the keys to this win for the Chester Clippers was forcing turnovers. And both of these teams love to use the transition offense, as I've mentioned time and time again. And in transition defense, the Chester Clippers forced a lot of turnovers and then created transition opportunities of their own and converted on some highlight reel Nasir Robinson dunks. And that's ultimately getting all those steals and then running with the rebounds ultimately led to a 14-point Chester win.
Well, stick with us still. We're here during the awards ceremony here of the championship game. As we can see, Coach Mike Evans on the court, the sign of disappointment on Mike Evans' face. Not a very demonstrative person in his coaching ways, but definitely disappointment, you know, in his face. And right now, Chester comes away shaking hands, congratulating Norristown on getting this far. As we now have the presentation of the medals. So we'll have our attention turned to the court here. Rob Stone, the District 1 president, now will present the runner-up medals to the Norristown Eagles. And you see, big applause here. Russell Graham gets his first medal placed on him, and Monte Shippen is next.
A bittersweet feeling for the Eagles right now, receiving their medals and for being the runner-up in the District 1 bracket. But it's kind of a bittersweet feeling, receiving the medals and the applause from the crowd right after a loss in the biggest game of all those Norristown Eagles' careers.
Well, again, we touch on it. It was an extraordinary season. I couldn't begin to picture this thing taking shape from the beginning. I mean, we would hear it. First it's 1, then it's 2, 3, and then eventually 4 in a row, and then they won 10 in a row, and it was unbelievable how this team stuck together.
And as I mentioned, unlike Chester, this is not a team that is here every single year. Again, 14-10 last year. The last time they were in a District 1 championship was 1993. And last time they won one was in 1990. Mike Evans, the head coach, and Dana Binky Johnson, the assistant coach of the team today, he was on that 1990 team. But I mean, they're not a powerhouse that's here every year. A good story with the undefeated season. The Eagles are wrapping up the receiving of their medals.
fine job by the Norristown players. Let's run through them once again. Sheldon Mayer, Maurice Briggs, Russell Graham, Khalif Wyatt, Paul Savage, Juan Chapman, Lorenzo Christmas, Tom Smith, Jared Smart, Jarrell Gardner, James Ramsey, Quentin Watson, and Vontae Shippen. They deserved it this year. They've worked hard. Great team this is. And now here's the presentation for the Chester Clippers. Presentation. Superintendent now for Chester gets the medal placed around his neck.
Manager, Jorge Lopez.
Now the manager, team manager for Chester, medal placed around him, and the manager as well too, another one for Chester. Jamar Parker, Laron Prey, medals. Mark Burrell, next with the medal placed on him for Chester. Karan Burton gets the medal placed around him. Next one, Mark Collins for Chester. Marvin Dukes now being presented the medal. Kevin Green, Germany now will get the medal placed around his neck. Valier Jefferson. Russell Johnson. Brandon Robinson. Next we'll have the medal placed. Nasir Robinson. Assistant coach John Carter for Chester. Assistant coach Kenny Harris also. Derek Spence, another assistant coach for Chester, is next. Larry Yarbray, another assistant coach, will have the medal placed around his neck. Keith Taylor is next in line. Fred Pickett is the last in line, gets a big applause. Congratulations to the Chester Clippers on their victory.
And I'd like to interject one thing before we close it out. Sure, the Chester Clippers won by 14, but they did not look unstoppable. Norristown turned the ball over more than usual. And I believe that if these teams meet again, and there's a very good possibility of that in the state tournament with much more on the line, I believe that if Norristown plays at the top of their game, which they did not do today, they can definitely compete with this powerhouse, the Chester Clippers. They do not look invincible.
And I'll talk about it as we see the trophy presentation. Let's take the look there first. And Karan Burton holds the trophy high. Well-deserved effort from him this season. He holds the trophy high. Norristown takes their walk off court to the locker room. But again, they should not leave their heads down. Rather, they should hold their heads high for an unbelievable season. They've got this town together, the school together in Norristown.
Absolutely.
And that's really what it's about. Beyond them actually playing the game, it's getting everybody together, and that's what they've done, and they made it so exciting. And again, to say on your part, yeah, going into this tournament, Chester isn't invincible. They showed me that they can make a lot of mistakes. We go back earlier in the season when they played Methacton. Methacton only lost that game by 12. So that's telling me that they made the same probably mistakes that they did this evening. But you know what? Where they beat Norristown is in the transition, definitely in the rebounding department. And that's things that Norristown will just have to make an adjustment and practice harder before the state tournament.
Yeah, both of these teams love the transition offense, and Chester executed it better. And it's going to be a long ride home for the Norristown Eagles. But after a day or two, they'll realize that there's a lot more at stake coming up next week and the week after in states. And it's going to be do or die in states. So hopefully they can refocus and get themselves some wins and try to make a deep run.
Well, we hope to see you at the state tournament. Again, the final score of this District 1 championship game, the Chester Clippers 61, the Norristown Eagles 47. For my colleague Mark Kolodzinsky, this is Steve Acavino signing off from the pavilion at Villanova University. Thanks for joining us on today's broadcast. We hope to see you back later in the year. Take care, everyone. Thanks for joining us.